So this is the finished coat. So to make the coat, I started with the top half. You can see the cutoff line here. I did the bottom half later, the skirt part, but I started with the top half. It's very similar to a vest. And so here was the basic pattern I used, enlarged obviously. This was the piece for the back, and what you do is you just lay down on a piece of newspaper and trace your back, and it's basically a rectangle with the exception that the shoulders slant off a little bit on each side, and there's a dip for the neck. And then for the front, you do two pieces, again with the slanted shoulders, and they're basically rectangles except that they come out a little farther on the side, just like that, a little bit on each side. And so what you do is you cut all three of these pieces out of Pellon in your size. And then you'll cover the outside with some black polyester material that looks kind of like leather. I found this at Joann Fabrics. And you'll do all the outsides in that, and then the insides you'll cover with some green fabric. And you'll sew them together with this side here and this side here, and then attach the shoulders, of course. And the bottom you'll just leave open. And so then you'll cut two additional pieces of Pellon shaped like these two, and you'll cover those the same as before. You'll cover the Pellon with the black polyester material on the outside and the green material on the inside. And then those two pieces end up being these, and they start about halfway down the vest front, and they just go about a third of the way down the vest back, and it goes just right up over the shoulder. It gives the shoulders a little bit of a bigger width. And then on the very edge of those pieces, you're going to want to put some black bias tape all the way around. It just gives it a more finished look. And so now for the collar pieces, these are basically just rectangles with slanted corners, and so you'll cut one for this side and one for that side, and you'll just sew them on, but in this case the green side should be up and the black side will be on the back. And so then the collar at the neck is done exactly the same way, except that the black goes on the outside and the green goes on the inside, and you just sew that all the way around. And so now moving on to the bottom part of the coat, it's kind of like a skirt. It's made up basically of 4 rectangular panels. And they're shaped like this, just simple plain rectangles, and you'll cut out 4 of those. You don't put any Pellon in these. This time you just do the black polyester material on the outside and the green material on the inside, but there's no Pellon in between. And then once you've got all 4 of those panels cut and sewn together, you'll just sew them right onto the bottom of the jacket part. And as you can see, the inside is in the green and the outside is in the black. And there's all 4 of them. And then about 4 inches up from the bottom on each piece, you want to put a gold stripe across them, and you want to make sure that the stripe is on the inside as well, so it'll be on both sides of them. And so then to finish, I just hot glued this gold beading on all 4 of the panels all the way up, and then it goes all the way around the collar too. It goes all the way around the collar and around each of the 4 panels. And so then at the very top of each shoulder, I sewed 3 snap bottoms on each side, and those will be used to attach the cape. Now the cape itself is just a piece of green material, and I've put 4 folds on each corner of it. And then what I did was I sewed it on to some gold covered Pellon. And basically what this is it's just a rectangle with curved corners, and the entire thing is covered in gold. And the green is just shoved up through the little slot right there. And then I sewed it across here. You can see it on this side, the stitch marks. Sewed it across there, and then sewed the 3 corresponding snaps right to the green and right through the gold. And so then it can just be snapped right to the corresponding snaps on the top of the shoulder of the coat. And so then for the shirt, I didn't bother getting really fancy. All I have is it's a green turtleneck on the bottom, and then the over part is actually, it was just a weird colored blue tank top, but since nobody's really going to see that, all I did was I only covered the front side in crisscrossing stripes of black polyester material, and then I added a little triangle down at the bottom of the tank top and put some more gold beading on it. This is actually what the tank top looks like. And I only bothered doing the front side because the back side will be covered by the coat. And then of course you add the golden horseshoe. And all I did was hot glue these on. I didn't even bother sewing it. And so then down at the bottom of the shirt, I did sew on one piece. It's a piece of Pellon and is covered by some black polyester material. And there's one hole in it. That will be for the belt buckle. And the top of the belt just gets tied up I sewed a piece of yarn onto the right shoulder, and then you'll just tie the top of the belt to that. So the bottom connects to the bottom of the shirt, and the top of it you just tie up under there. It'll be under the shoulder, and nobody will see where the belt ends then. So for Loki's helmet, I used a Pepakura pattern from DeviantArt, and I've posted the link to it in the video description so you can download that if you want to. Generally people use cardboard for this, but I ended up using 1/4 inch thick craft foam. And so once I had all the pieces of the pattern cut out from my foam, I hot glued all the pieces together. And once it was glued together, I coated the entire thing with 3 coats of Elmer's glue, which I applied as if it were paint with a foam brush. Then once the glue coats were dry, I spray painted the entire thing with gold spray paint. Then I just hot glued a little bit of soft green foam on the insides to make it more comfortable while I was wearing it. And so then here we have the finished costume.